Hey, how's it going on, you lovely people at Door Shutter, coming back to you with a brand new episode of Project Architect 2, and today we are crafting this thing. So I have not actually crafted one of these yet. I was waiting, and there's a couple other pieces apparently that I have missed, which is actually my fault. Let's quickly set up this. Submit. Let's do this. And actually, that is wrong. Hold on. I want to add this guy, not the Archmate. And then we'll just do this. And we'll do this. And that should get things starting. Okay? And this thing's going to take a minute. And we've got our first piece here, which is fantastic. Okay, let's go to EMC automation. Of course, I have not grabbed everything out of the system, so it's not registering. And then there's like the spell prism and the spell prism, an advanced spell prism. Might help if I actually put that in here. Is that going to complete that quest? There we go. Okay. And the next portion is the Archiveau, whatever in the world. We actually don't have... What do you need? Death? Oh, we actually got a piece of dark matter. So, theoretically, we can now kind of consider this guy completed. Yeah. I'm not really worried about, like, continuously getting this guy completed. For now, I think we'll kind of move on to the next, which is the energizing. I don't think that this is going to be that difficult. Not really. Looks like we need to have, like, every color glass available. The netherite furnace. And after that one, that is the EMC link, which will be fantastic. Okay. And what was this? The Archimorph, which requires the Supreme Machine Frame and Resin Ball. And the Archimorph is how you get the Archiveau, which is all of that. Does this thing not have that many more uses? Besides in bigger reactors? Interesting. And the final piece is this whole thing. Okay. Alright, well, I mean, that is this completed. So I guess the first thing that I want to do with this is actually go and try and get the godforged pearl thing. I'm not even worried about moving on to the next portion. So I'm thinking we need to do hell shelves, right? For a major portion of it. But those aren't that good. Wait, there's Quanta? Where's Quanta? So confused. So where does this current set get us here? Without the melon shelves. So we need more Turna, which to do that we'd probably want to get the dragon shelves, the end shelves. Which shouldn't be that bad. And then the draconic end shelves. And that theoretically should get us max Eterna. Now we just need to get Quanta tanked. Okay, so I'm realizing that the end shelves, the draconic end shelves here, are what we really need to get the Eterna that way, but we need to then get Quanta. So I'm kind of wondering, maybe we need to do pearlescent. Goodness gracious. Or we need to do, like, hell shelves. Let's just look up Quanta. So what can we do for Quanta? So the soul touch to deep shelves gives us 15%. The hell shelves only give us 5 max. The B shelf gives us 100 quanta, but is that too much? Yeah, we need to have less. Okay, so we don't want that. That may be something good in the future, though. So I'm thinking soul touched deep shelves may be where we're looking. So I need it to be 67 to 68. It is such a weird amount. So right now we are 60. So one skull would get us to 65, and then we'd need like one. What hell shelves do I have? So if I were to put this down, 68. So we're right there on the money, basically, with that portion. 66.75. So we just need to use hell shelves here, is what I'm understanding. The infused hell shelves. So there's 67, which is perfect. And then now we need Arcana. And how much Arcana do we need? 55. So I probably shouldn't have removed everything. But we can do things like the infused or the heart forged that add just quanta. So there's the heart forged. So that gets us to 10. And then we have no max. So we can just get a handful of these guys. Okay. Yeah, let's just put it like that. 55 to 57. And if we do another one of these, it's going to get us to 60. So, candles. There we go. Okay, so in total, that is 1, 2, 3, 3 soul touch deep shelves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 draconic end shelves, 4 infused hell shelves, 5 heart forged sea shelves, and a total of 4 candles. Okay. And that gets us this piece, which is awesome. And now I'm going to go look at how to do the next portion of this, because I don't know. It says we need all of these items, but I'm not sure. Oh, hey, here it is. Hold on. To start the process, you need to build this altar. You have to have 2 source jars, a center platform with an arcane an arcane core underneath, and it has to have 3 pedestals. I think I understand this, but let me just go grab everything we need for this, which is all mentioned here. Arcane core, 2 source jars, 3 arcane pedestals, an arcane platform. Did I see that? Yeah, I think the arcane platform's right there. And then the rest of these go on top of the pedestal, so let me be right back. Alright, I should have everything to kind of get this built, at least. If my stuff doesn't get taken from here. And I probably didn't need to clear out this area. I was just kind of visualizing where I wanted to place all this. And then just this, and that. And then now we need the godforged pearl. Which all of my godforged pearls are actually over in here. Which I don't have too many of. So this, and then what else was it? The infused dragon's breath. Correct. Okay, so infused dragon's breath, and then the guitar, and then I would need to go get the enchantments that I want, which I probably want to just pull as much off of this as I can. What is the best way to pull off an enchantment in this pack? We do have the... What is it called? Enchantment Extractor from Industrial Foregoing, which we actually do have access to. Gonna take a second. Okay. Enchantment Extractor. I should be able, let's just... Enchantment Extractor, and then we just put this guy in here with some books. So I guess one of my questions is, can I do like a massive enchanted book, or do I need to do individual enchanted books? So can I go and add sharpness, scavenger, capture, and looting 3 onto one book, and go out here to the guitar and right click? Okay, so now this has sharpness, scavenger, capture, looting. That is insanity. That is legitimate insanity. And that also means that I could actually enchant this armor to be even more broken. Oh my goodness. Also, I haven't looked at this yet. We haven't looked at Godforged Pearls levels to see if there's anything else that we may want. It doesn't look like it. Not that I can see. But now we have even more damage and the ability to get more drops, which is awesome. That was just something I was honestly just curious about. And we can do that apparently with the armor, right? Like we can do that with the Atomic Disassembler, the Morning Star, the Gem Armor, the Jetpack Armored, Free Runners, the HDPE Elytra. Hammers use the same enchantments as pickaxes. So I guess the only sword that I'm kind of wondering that may or may not be enchantable, because I don't remember, is the Bobley's Heart sword. Is this thing enchantable? Oh, it is off-rip, but just enchantable. I was kind of curious. I would have, honestly, if it were me, I would have made this non-enchantable and forced people to go about it, getting it through the method that you have to enchant everything else like that. But that's just my opinion. But that is really cool. So we could actually apply fortune and stuff to this pickaxe if we wanted to, which is nice. I don't really think I'll worry about that right now. We could also do efficiency to make this thing even more just deranged. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. We're going to claim the reward off of that. And we'll just claim all rewards here real quick. But that is some good stuff. Just quick little side quest. Oh, it's asking me to pick an upgrade. I'll go for some ender tanks. I could always use those. I don't really need them, but I could use them. But yeah, that is a couple things completed. So yeah, this thing, 200,000 EMC per. I don't know. Do I want to just do? I think I just want to plow on to the next. But we do need another arch meat, so I'm gonna go over here. Gonna like take 16 of these guys. Nope, it ain't letting me. So we'll just do it in here. And let's just go for 16. Oh, nope, out of source gems. Okay, 16 of those are gonna be crafted. So this thing should be cruising. Quite a few times. And we could just turn around and we can do 250. Which is absolutely insane. I'm going to actually pull that guy back out, but that is just nuts. Nuts indeed. Okay. So how do we go about getting all of this stuff? I guess is the next question. Okay, so real quick, I just wanted to mention something. We did get the 16 pieces here, so this functions completely and utterly perfectly. We'll just toss those away. But one of the biggest things is the marks. You can actually put them in an imbuement chamber rather than the enchanting apparatus. And that keeps all of the essence in there, so you don't need to worry about pushing anything. So I've just got it to where it sends the Wilden Chimera tablet thingy, and also has an entangled block down there that then pushes back into the pattern provider. The entangled block is, of course, just entangled to this. So that is the only change I've made. I've added a couple more volcanic source links because I did kind of run a little bit dry on doing that. So if I probably sent a little bit more, that would cause some issues. So I guess this episode, we kind of want to start figuring out what we need to do to get the Archiveau going. Now, I'm not sure about this one, mostly because there are a couple things that I don't have automated at all, right? Which is Powa, right? Powa I don't have automated, Nether Stars, all of that stuff. So, I guess we'll start at ground one. So, I want to automate the Wither. Now, this is not going to be complicated, because we're actually just going to repurpose this box. And we're going to just make it smaller, back to its like default size of the normal Wither here. So we just want to make sure that our box encompasses that area. So 1, 2. And then the rest I will take off. And this should be back to a normal kill box. Because remember, I extended this so I could spawn a whole bunch and then do the insta-kill, the 500 damage to them. So let me get this fixed. Be right back. So what we're going to do this time around for Wither is actually do a Wither builder. Which I actually haven't done a Wither builder, I think, in a hot minute. I can't remember, though. And that's kind of, I think FTB Skies, maybe I did this. But I'm not sure. Genuinely, I don't remember. So we're going to wait for the Supreme Machine Frame. And basically what this device does is, it says on the tin, builds the Wither. That's all it is useful for. There is no other purpose for this machine. But that does mean that we are going to need to be able to supply this thing with skulls and also the soul sand, right? Soul sand, not going to be complicated. Not at all. And actually, we can just go ahead and we can take an EMC link. Let's see, what is Soul Sand's value? Do we really need this big of an EMC link? It does not look like it. So let's actually just burn this one and go into here and just find... Let's go number 2. That sounds good. And all we're going to do is we're going to put this down. We're going to grab Soul Sand. Put that there. At pipes. And we're going to just pipe this in here. And actually, let's push this down one just in case. I guess I could actually just do like a center pipe, do the EMC link, and then just do that. And then have the skulls or whatever being transported be right here. That actually sounds like a good idea. Okay. But once we get the skulls, so for now, we'll just grab the skulls we have in here. And we're just going to put these guys in here. Close this up. Grab our add-ons we want for this machine. Close that up. We'll grab a flux point. And we'll grab the... what do we want? There was the entangled block. I think that sounds like a good option. And we can just bind. Put this down here. Bind that. Do this. Shuts network. That should build this guy. And yes, he will spawn. He will die. What I'm going to do is we're just going to set up a mob crusher. We can set that up there, and we can do an add-on. We probably just need like an add-on of 3. Maybe just 2. We'll even do just 2. Okay, add-on. Flux point. Power. Show area. Yeah, that's perfect. And then now we just need to get the skulls automated. Right? That's basically all we need to do. Because once that's done, I was messing around with a couple things here. We can ignore that. I just have to get the skulls done. Which I think to do skulls, we're probably going to go get a wither skeleton farm. Probably set up somehow. I don't think that'll be too complicated. Because I don't think there's another way to get wither skeleton skulls in this pack. I see normal skeleton skulls, withered ribs. Yeah, I don't see anything else. So I gotta go get some wither skeletons killed. See if I can get the wither skeleton egg, or we could grab a mob swab. Whichever one comes first. And we will be back here in a bit. I've got the wither skeleton room set up, and it's actually currently deactivated because we have more than enough skulls in our drawer. But this is set up with an inventory checker behind here and everything. Right up here. There we go. And the cool thing with this is that we have a dark matter sword in this modular router. I set it up a little bit differently than I normally do, but this has a enchanted loot pinata enabled sword, and that is just going to town. We also, of course, do have, looks like we've got some iron helmet in here. Getting a whole bunch of iron gear. But, yeah, there is pretty decent, you know, loot from this. Actually, let me just deactivate it here. Let's say 6,000. So you'll see. Oh, let me turn my magnet off. Got a whole bunch of junk in this one. Might have to get multiple trash cans. Might have to. Okay. But yeah, you can see it just swings, gets skulls, gets all that stuff, looting. Even gets reliquary drops as well. If we actually go upstairs, the rest of the drops are placed over here. Because we get the reliquary, we get the Bobley's Heart canister, and we also get the um, architect's palette. That's what I was thinking. Okay. But yeah, we get all of that stuff. The spawner is cranking, it's cruising, it's doing all of the stuff that it needs to. And of course, it is hitting loot pinatas left, right, and center. All those explosion sounds, by the way. And you can see all the loot that's on the ground. That's why I've got two vacuum options down there, the vacuumlator and the absorption hopper. And the next thing is I have made sure that all of that is sent over to the Wither kill farm, which you can see there's a controller access point down there, and of course a vacuum portion as well, because of course sometimes soul sand gets destroyed, and we just want to resend that back in. So this behind here, of course, is our nether stars. I've just got an inventory checker making sure, hey, do we have 512 in here? Which I actually just upped the amount. It was 256. Or I think it was 256. I think, but I don't remember now. But yeah, I put it up to 512 just so that way we have more. And that is cruising. That is fantastic. I want to get into thermal machine automation with AE2. I want to look at the thermal extras machine ore processing that I saw in here a little while ago. Yeah, this right here. Because theoretically, this would be ore tripling. And I don't really want to go with mechanisms like ore, 6 times machine stuff. Honestly, I would love to do a new method. And if I can do it this way, I am sold. That is for sure. So let's get this cruising. So I want to get the induction smelter down. I want to get a pattern provider. Get a cable. And we actually might want to grab a pattern. What is the other one called? This one here. I may want to grab this. I'm actually probably going to teach this to our system here. Just because I think that's not a bad idea. If we're going to use these guys. And I think we're going to use them plenty on thermal machines because there's usually quite a bit we need to do with these. So let's take this out. Extended pattern provider. And this, of course, just gives us more slots, which is exactly what we want. And I'm going to go through and I am going to get signalum, enderium, all of the different materials, alloys, all that stuff, Constantinian, Invar, Electrum, all of those goodies, and get that cruising. So let me get those set up. And the only thing that I need to do here, by the way, I guess we'll just talk about the configuration. So shift left click to clear all sides. And we're just going to do input, output of the back. Okay. And then, of course, once we start getting more materials, I want to actually get these guys automated and get this process automated because we can do smithing template stuff or smithing table. Technically smithing template, right? This is a smithing template. And we could actually go through and do this automatically through AE2 as well. So we don't have to do a whole bunch of manual crafting. But that will be fun. Let me get this stuff cruising and I'll be back. Also, real quick side note, the enderium and stuff, whenever you're going to do this, the recipe to do like processing patterns and stuff is not complicated. All you got to do, so if you're looking at this and you're like, I don't really want to do the dust version, just wait till it cycles to ingots and then click plus. Or you could, of course, just drag this stuff from JEI, make sure you get the count right and everything, and that is all you need to do. There's no real big hiccups, and you just toss it in there. And then, of course, if you wanted Invar, we could just do 16 pieces, and that should get going pretty quickly. So there's not a whole lot of complicatedness with this, hence why I'm doing a lot of it off camera, right? There's not a lot of stuff that I need to show you guys. Of course, there may be other machines we add, because I just added the pulverizer. It's going to be the exact same way as we do this. The one good thing about these machines is there's not really a whole lot of secondary inputs, unlike with mechanism machines where there's quite a few. So, yeah, good stuff. All right. So I'm experimenting around, messing around with the crystallizer from. I don't think this is. Oh, it is actually from Thermal Expansion. I thought this was actually from Thermal Extras, but no, this is actually. This must be a newer machine. I don't think I've ever heard of this one. Crystallizer, huh? But I'm looking at this because I'm using this for Ancient Dust, which requires energized glowstone. To get energized glowstone, you throw glowstone into a magma crucible. This thing is awfully slow. The magma crucible has always been slow. We need to put upgrades in it. I just haven't got around to it. But I have a cyclical processing upgrade in here, and I was kind of trying to see what this does. Okay, so this does not actually keep input. So that doesn't even function properly, which kind of sucks. Because basically, what I was looking at is ancient dust can be made once through the dragon head to ancient dust, and then you can put that inside a crystallizer to then kind of duplicate it using the energized glowstone. And that allows for us to kind of just keep a roundabout. But the problem is when you do stuff like this with AE2, it has an issue where it can't really detect that there like is a output more than, right? So this has one and it results in two, but theoretically it only results in one because you're just getting the input that you put in originally. So if you were to put eight as a, like, I need eight out of the system for crafting, it's not going to allow you to do that because you would then need the four that are needed to actually put in the crystallizer, right? I hope that makes sense. It's kind of confusing. But I think what I want to do is I want to do an export out of the system because we don't really need this crystallizer for anything else. That's something else I was looking at. We don't really need this for anything else. So we are fine with doing just a little bit extra pizzazz to keep this thing kind of working. So let's get that placed down, and I want to grab Ancient Dust. And we're going to grab the acceleration cards as well. And now all I should need to do is I'm going to take this pattern that I have in here and I'm going to reset it to only need energized glowstone. Okay? There we go. And then basically, once I craft up 64 of this, or I think actually 128, I'm not sure if this will fill. And if we're actually worried about that, we do have the slot seals that we could throw in here, and that would only take 64. And that should be beautiful. And actually, can I do the crafting card? That might actually work here. Because then that way it's going to... There it goes. Okay, perfect. And then, of course, this is also already set to use 1 block of glowstone to do 1 bucket of energized glowstone. So I just need to get this guy faster. And the reason we're doing Ancient Dust, by the way, is because this is actually how you get the dragon steel ingots and dust and all of that stuff. So this right here. And, of course, this is Thermal Extras. That allows for us to get quite a few other things. I don't even know what this is. Is that better than netherite? Probably not. Doesn't look like it. I don't even know. I just know there's tools. But let's just look at Dragon Steel real quick. Upgrades. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. All of these things that you can do, which is pretty cool. And of course, if we need to do anything else with it, we can figure that out. Because we're not doing the integrated components with this side, but we can do all of these other upgrades and stuff, which is fantastic. Hence why I want to get some of it. So that is perfect. That is cruising. I think I need to look at getting components, the integrated components, and also the flux linkage amplifiers. I've already got these to Twinite. Of course, you do not know. We can actually just quickly look at this. So Twinite. If we want to look at upgrading this further, this will actually allow for you to just do smithing template. I've already got the smithing template craftable. We just need the shellite gear. And then we can put this guy in here, and this guy in here. Oh, nope, that's not right. Put the gear in here. And now we should be able to get the Shellite flux linkage amplifiers. So I'm just going to take these three, and that should now autocraft. Of course, it may have to do some processing. But yeah, once we get all this stuff sped up, all of these machines will be absolutely fantastic. Also, quick side note, apparently me doing this, the automation, because I did the Stellar Integral Component automation piece already, and all of these guys have Stellars in them now. They've got the Shellite. We're working on Ancient Dust, which actually now we should be able to request like 128 of this, and this should flood into the system partially. You know, we'll have some kickback, right? But we should have the ability to get the 128, and I am currently working on flux efficiency, just so that way we're not 100% just tanking our power. So I'm going to swap out one of the Shellite flux upgrades or linkage amplifiers, and that way we're just going to burn a little bit less energy overall. And then I think with that being amplified by 12 times, this should be significantly more efficient with the actual energy. I don't think the power's the worst problem, but yeah, you guys can see how fast that's running now, especially the Magma Crucible, because I did 128 and we've already completed it. So having the Stellar upgrade, having this, I think this is like a perfect mix of components here, and everything is just is working. So I'm excited, and hopefully everything will just keep on keeping on this way. All right. So we are working on a couple things here. I have got Stellar Integral Components. I've got a Shellite Flux Efficiency and 2 linkage amplifiers, the Shellite variant. And of course, right now I'm just working on looking at Ancient Dust. Of course, everything is cruising. The Magma Crucible is flat out flooring it. And I actually made a bit of a change on the pattern for this guy, because by default, the Ancient Dust recipe is actually 1 to 2, but I'm going to say 1 to 1. So 1 bucket of energized glowstone to 1 Ancient Dust equals only 1, because we're actually having to return 1 piece every single time back into the crystallizer, because of course it's just going to be an infinite loop whenever we do this. So right now I've requested 128, and I had 64 in here, so I'm kind of seeing what is actually going to result in this. If this is going to be a better option than having the 2 listed, we shall see. Because I think this is just going to equal 64, right? I think. Yes. No? No, it's still going. So it should equal 128. Okay. Perfect. And with that, of course, we're now able to look at getting Dragon Steel. We can craft up like 16 pieces of this. I don't know if there's like actually any quests associated with this stuff either. I've just kind of been doing it. It doesn't look like there is, which is fantastic. The Dragon Steel, that cranked out really quickly. Goodness gracious. But we should now be able to actually go through and take the flux linkage amplifiers here real quick. Yeah, I'm fine with doing that. I'll take them on all machines real quick. I think I only pulled out 10. So let's actually just send it with 10. Even without those components, man, this thing still floors. That is nuts. That's just because of how efficient the Stellar Integral Component makes everything. That is awesome. Okay. 2 in there, 2 in there, 2 in there, 2 in here, and 2 in here. And then, of course, we'll work on the Shellite Flux Efficiency next. And there is also a tier after Dragonsteel, by the way, which is the Abyssal tier, which we actually, I think, have access to this as well, because it's just Echo Shards. It's the only difference. And we probably have some Echo Shards in here. We actually do not have any Echo Shards. Do I have Echo Shards in the drawer over here, or the chest? I do not have any over here either. Okay, so those guys don't generate like I thought they do. So let's just get a few stacks of these. Not like EMC is a problem. And we could do the Abyssal tier. I'll do the Abyssal tier off camera because there is no need for us to even look at that on camera. It's just going to be more efficient, right? This is 0.7 efficiency. This is 0.65 times the 12, whatever, that the stellar tier is. And that is beautiful. Okay, so let's get the... I think I already have the flux efficiency dragon steel tier, don't I? Yes, and this is going to be just 5. I know I only had 5 pulled out, and I didn't have any in here. So we're going to let that go, and I'm going to work on Abyssal tier, and hopefully we will have just really good thermal machines. They won't be fast, right? There's always kind of a hiccup with these machines. I don't know if you noticed. Let me show you here. With this machine specifically, the induction smelter, I have this on blocking because you do have recipes in here that do just use 2 items rather than all 3, which you can actually see. There's quite a few that I'm just like looking at that have 3, but then there's a couple with 2 and 3s and then 2s. So if you don't do blocking, you're going to get some junk in there that you don't want. So blocking is fantastic. So there is always going to be a little bit of a slowdown with this machine specifically, and maybe some of these others, I'm not sure. I haven't had any issues with any of these yet. Of course, this one we're kind of doing a little bit funnily, so that one may have hiccups if you did it a little bit differently than me. But yeah, the induction smelter will have that hiccup because it's got to have a little bit of buffer point to send and pull back items and all of that jazz. But yeah, if we look at the dragon steel and we just craft up 16 of this, you can see there's just kind of that like brief delay. It's actually like really noticeable with that smelter though. But even with the speed, it's going to have a little bit of delay. With that, we're going to wrap this episode up here. So, thermal is to the point of automation where we are confident to use it and do all of the fancy stuff. I actually went ahead and I changed over our dynamos to the abyssal tier and a handful of other things. But for now, we are going to wrap this one up here. Next episode, we are going to work on getting the polyfin piece liquid stuff that we need, which is just latex and energized glowstone. And this is converted using a blast chiller to get the polyfin plates. And this will get us the nitritic igniter, which will allow for us to then kind of do some ore tripling. I think ore tripling is probably where I will stop unless there is... I mean, it looks like there's some explosives that we could actually use that may be good. I'm seeing that there's like these. What are the uses and stuff? So this would be like the usage, the energy modifier, the auxiliary modifier, primary modifier, use chance 100%. So, I mean, we could do stuff like that if that's not problematic. There may be other explosives that we could look at that may result in even more. There is the disruptive explosive, 3, 2, and 5. The slime, what did we say this one was? 3.1, 2.1, and 1.5. So it looks like that's actually better than this one. We also have radiant, we have redstone. So yeah, there's a handful of things that we can look at to see which one is better. It looks like maybe the slime is actually better. The auxiliary modifier is 5 times. So if we wanted secondary, I think, which is the auxiliary, that would be what we would look at for this one. But I think, in all honesty, slime with its 2.1 and 3.1, I think that sounds like the best option. Because really, I just want more primary modifier. I don't really care about the other ones. And just having a little bit of boost definitely would go a long way. So, yeah, that's some good stuff. Anyway, next episode, that is what we're going to get into. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay awesome. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.